I do it so most of you do not have to. But this is a headline in the New York Times today. And I'm looking at what the headline is in the digital right now because sometimes it's different than the newspaper. Headline digital, not a positive headline. Democrats, flashing red alert. What the voter registration data shows. Subheading, and there's a big graphical accompaniment story for this. The party is bleeding support beyond the ballot box, a new analysis shows. This is a big article. This is the feature for the New York Times. And listen to this open, Buck. You don't hear opens like these. And I thought it was interesting because the Sunday New York Times basically wrote an entire editorial on behalf of the paper saying, yeah, Clay and Buck were basically right about everything on COVID and basically right about everything on crime. And maybe we should have been smarter about the way we covered it. That's basically what the New York Times said in their editorial. Here's the open. The Democrat Party is hemorrhaging voters long before they even go to the polls. Of the 30 states that track voter registration by political party, Democrats lost ground to Republicans in every single one between the 2020 and 2024 elections, often by a lot. That 4-year swing towards Republicans adds up to 4.5 million voters, a deep political hole that could take years for Democrats to climb out from. And then, Buck, there is a graphic showing you Democrats losing ground in all 30 states while Republicans are gaining ground. And again, one more paragraph here just to contextualize so you know what Democrats are reading this morning. The stampede away from the Democrat Party is occurring in battleground states, the bluest states, and the reddest states too, according to voter registration data analyzed by the New York Times. The data comes from a nonpartisan data factory. This is interesting when you think about, Buck, what is going on in the larger country. I feel like I've seen it for a while because the Democrat Party, it's basically an insult to call someone a Democrat if you're a young man. We made jokes about this when fraternities, instead of making jokes about your mom with the banners outside of the house this fall, were saying their opponents vote Democrat. The culture has shifted in a major way.
Yes. Now, if you're at the frat house and some guy swings and misses, you say you swing that wiffle ball bat like a Democrat. It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
And this whole article, though, look, the data in this, I'm going to tell you this right now. This article is a joy. It is a joy to read. I read it more than once. That's how much. And this is a New York Times, a big piece from the New York Times. This is inject it straight into my veins. Take this data and put it right into the heart of the American populace. This is great stuff. Some of the things I pulled from this in the specifics, the long and the short of it, as you laid out, is party registration, which Democrats are used to having an advantage. And one of the reasons why they didn't really detail this in the article is Democrats have been running this voter registration industrial complex that is that they use nonprofits. So tax advantaged here. Okay. They're using nonprofits in order to get people to sign up and vote, but they do it in a way that they know they're going to get more Democrats, right? So it's, we're just to get out the vote effort, right? And you've seen celebrities doing this in the past and stuff, but it's always wink, wink. We're going to do this in Philadelphia, in New York, in Los Angeles. Like, they're doing it in places where they figure we're going to overwhelmingly be registering Democrats to vote. Well, the problem is now they can't count, Clay, on just a blanket registration effort in these areas, especially when they're going after, let's say, Latino voters. They can't count on it benefiting Democrats. So they're going, hold on a second. Our scam isn't working the way that it used to. Miami-Dade County, for example, the number of active Republican voters zoomed past Democrats after Trump became the Republican nominee. As recently as November 2020, my home county of Miami-Dade, Clay, Democrats had a 200,000 in one county, 200,000 registered voter advantage.
Yeah.
Most counties don't even have 200,000 voters. I mean, you see this. North Carolina state records show the Democrat advantage there was 400,000 in 2020. It's now basically, more or less a tie. They've got 17,000 voters. I mean, that's like not going to make a huge difference. So this is 5-alarm fire time is that the most alarms for a fire? I think it is, right? This is a 4-alarm fire, 5-alarm fire. We got a lot of firefighters. You guys can write it in and tell us.
I think it's 5-alarm, right?
I think it's 5-alarm, right? I think that's the big scary fire. Yeah. This is a big scary fire for Democrats. For us, we are roasting marshmallows and enjoying all of this. This is fantastic. And it goes to everything we talk about. As you said, the anti-masculine, anti-white, misjudging the Latino, misjudging the young black male vote. I mean, they are in free fall. And the great thing is, Clay, there's no signs of it stopping. It just keeps getting worse. And they won't change their messaging. They keep pushing for, let's have, 200-pound guys playing on the women's athletics team in high school.
Yeah, and I do think this is so, by the way, one bit of news on this 30 states. You might be saying, okay, what happened in the other 20 states? The other 20 states don't have party official registration. So in my state of Tennessee, for instance, you walk in on a primary and pick which side you want to vote in. So there isn't official party registration. Some places have registered Democrats. Some places have registered Republicans. 20 states do not. So they only have a 30-state data set. But this, to me, Buck, it corresponds with all 50 states moved redder. If all 30 states are hemorrhaging Democrats such that the New York Times is writing about it and adding Republicans, it is a sign of a profound cultural shift. And I think the numbers are actually going to get worse. And this is why we had this conversation. In the wake of losing in 2024, Democrats had a real choice. Do we look ourselves in the mirror and say, boy, voters by and large rejected us? Or do they say, this is just a sign that our message is not getting through? Those are the only two paths, right? The first one is hard because it requires you to say, boy, this is on us. The second one, you put it on the voters. I think we've gotten a result so far, 6 months after Trump won. Democrats have decided their message just didn't get through. And they have, as a result, doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on crazy. And they're saying, well, they're ignoring the fact that Kamala outspent Trump. They're ignoring the fact that voters, I believe, heard, listened, analyzed, and rejected the arguments being made by the Democrat Party and overwhelmingly chose the Republican Party instead. And here's what I think is particularly ominous, Buck. I think there are two things that are particularly ominous about this data. One, the two most Republican groups in the 2024 election were men under 30 and men over 65. I bet that has never happened in the history of this country. And I think a lot of people are still not recognizing it, which means that the data, as kids are getting younger, instead of working in Democrat favor, is actually working against them. And I'll come into the Travis household and give you an example on this. My 14-year-old blew my mind because I can't believe that I'm going to have two grown adult sons by the next election. He told me right after 2024, Dad, all my friends cannot wait to be 18 so we can vote against Democrats in 2028. These are 14-year-old boys that will be 18. This is right now rising ninth graders, and there's a lot of these kids. They are overwhelmingly indexing Republican, just like their older brothers did, just like is happening out there. So I think the numbers are getting worse. That's point one for younger. Two, and this is really transformative, and I know a lot of you out there are part of this group, Asian, Hispanic, and black voters are increasingly moving towards the Republican side because culturally they are more male than they are Democrat. And that men are saying we're done with the craziness. So I think both of those things are huge, not only now but looking forward.
And just from a pure power perspective, the general belief is that after a presidential election, especially a tightly contested, hotly contested one, Republicans, or rather the party in power, Republicans in this case, will get smacked down in the midterms, and just also the overall political trend. Because when you're in power, it's easy for people to say, you're not doing a good enough job of this, and you messed that up. And, to be the political complainers tends to work, right? The opposition party gets to say, you're not delivering, you're not. And we've gotten used to that as our framework for politics in this country, certainly at the national level. Let me add, that happened in 2016, 2017, going into that 2018 midterms. It was Trump hasn't delivered. They hadn't built the wall. They hadn't done this and that. And they were able to get substantial gains in 2018 in the House. And the Democrats were really fired up, obviously, about 2020. You could tell already by that midterm. Clay, that's not happening this time. And this is what I think is so concerning to the Democrats and so amazing for the rest of us, is that they're not seeing the general prevailing trends post this election are not, okay, Democrats are going to snap back. Democrats are going to counterattack here. It's getting worse for them. Trump's been president for 7 months, and things are getting better for Trump and worse for Democrats right away. In all the numbers and all the metrics that they can see, I mean, here's one. We didn't mention this. Battleground states, Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. Democrats are losing support in all of those states and continuing to bleed support based on voter registration. Remember, not all states have voter registration. What is it? It's like, what is it? 30
out of 50. So I'm not a registered anything in my state.
So 20 do not, 30 do. Based on those 30 states, though, you can look at Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. Really important states. Democrats are still losing support when it comes to voter registration in those places. And they're also losing support when you look at voter switches, people that were Democrats and come to Republican side, or Republicans who go in the other direction. More Democrats are leaving the Democrat Party. I don't know how this article could be worse for Democrats right now. There was not a single silver lining anywhere, full stop. It was a total, it was a delicious nightmare for them. I loved every second of it.
By the way, one state that I think is not getting enough attention that is emblematic of this, maybe more than most, Nevada. In Nevada, Democrats suffered the steepest percentage point plunge of any state other than West Virginia. West Virginia is a pretty red place. Nevada swung massively to the Republican Party. I think there's an argument that Nevada is really teed up to become rock-ribbed red
I have a theory
in the years
on West
ahead.
Virginia, actually. Let me come back into that. I have a theory. I think that West Virginia data is much more important even than the article suggests. We'll come back into this in a second. Look, there's only so many hours in the day where you can be thinking about what can I do for my long-term financial health. But the benefits are worth it. And you need to take a long-term view, a long-term plan. This isn't about day trading, getting in, getting out, making quick decisions like that. That's generally not a good idea for most folks. And you don't have the time for that. What about something that makes sense over the long term, maybe the longest term? I mean, something that has had value for as long as there have been economies. Gold. The value of gold in just the last year has gone up about 40%. And central banks around the world are buying gold to back their currencies. And there's continued erosion of fiat currencies, including here at home, unfortunately, because of all the spending and all the debt. This is why gold as a portion of your portfolio makes sense. Birch Gold Group makes owning physical gold very easy. They can convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA with physical gold. So if you got an old job and you got some 401k sitting around, maybe you got, 10 grand, 50 grand, whatever it is in that 401k, you're not doing much with it. Converting that into gold can make a lot of sense. Also, you can just buy gold and keep it. And I have done that. And guess what? The gold that I've bought, it's worth a lot more now. Text my name, Buck, to 989898, and Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. Again, text Buck to 989898 to get started with Birch Gold Group today.